Hey guys, it's me, Robert. I'm here to review another comic for you today. The Scarlet Spider, number 25. This one has been a great comic for me in light of the Marvel Now stuff not being generally that good. But this one was a comic I really enjoyed. It started Amazing Spider-Man's gone on now into its own book from the Spider Island incident. Basically what it's about, for a little bit of back history, the evil clone of Spider-Man, Kane, who was one of the three people in the Clone Saga, has decided to become a hero to try and change his life from being this person who's always at Spider-Man and Ben Reilly's back to trying to redeem himself. The comic has been good. He started off as just wanting to leave and go to Mexico for a while and just not having to deal with any more superhero stuff. But he gets all the way to Houston, Texas, and a couple of people, this girl and a bartender and this police officer, convince him to be the first Houston superhero. And for these last 25 issues, he's done it and done a really good job. It's kind of sad because this is the last issue of The Scarlet Spider by Yost and Burnham, who've done the art and everything else on it. Here's the issue. Okay, and like I said, I'm just using my camera today, my phone camera, because I just think it doesn't make me look as chubby. Anyway, it starts off right here in Monterrey, Mexico. They said, yeah, it starts off these drug dealers making a deal, saying that they're getting ready to sell their stuff on the black market here, when Arcel, the Scarlet Spider's little girlfriend / sidekick, who has decided to become a superhero after meeting the X-Men. She has powers of persuasion, sort of like Silver Fox does. And you'll see those in it. And all these guys just laughing. Are we supposed to be scared of this little girl? And this great picture right here of Scarlet Spider coming in and just telling him, hey, you should be. I am. And, it's very quickly, they don't even give it a page. They just let you know, hey, I beat them up. And you see Arcel over here, who's named herself Hummingbird, trying to change the drug dealers' ways and trying to get them just to give it up. She can do that with her powers of persuasion. Kane tells her to stop or whatnot. This part really threw me for a loop, and that he was stopping being a hero. Fast forward a little bit, I thought it was going to be a little bit different, but anyway, it shows up right here. They're here at it goes back a week ago, where apparently there was a giant explosion. Doesn't give any really explanation for this. It just shows there is an explosion, and he's coming down. This building's coming down. People are falling in the air. Kane is apparently trying to save him. Well, it jumps back ahead. I didn't like this pacing for this last book. But you see them on their way to Mexico now. He took Arcel with him. So apparently, they did something right. I mean, she's keeping up with him. And she thinks she's going to Canada. And she's telling him, you know what? Let's go back to Houston. Let's go back to Texas. We can make it work. And we've seen this where he tells her, we're setting up camp here, and she just doesn't understand what's going on. Neither do we at this point, which and they're just sitting here under the scars. She's trying to talk with him again because she cares about Kane. He actually made somebody care about him. I cared about Kane in this comic. Kane keeps telling him, she goes, why can't we go back to Houston? And he goes, we can't ever go back to Houston. And I was like, what happened in Houston? You know, and it goes back to a flashback scene, and we see him over here. He saved the people. He saved them from falling to their death. It looks like a scene off of 9/11, the 9/11 footage, which is really good art. And he just sort of saves everyone, the rubble, everything. The bartender that he was kind of friendly with was there, and you know, the whole point of this comic has been Kane doesn't want to be Spider-Man. He wants to be him, and he wants to get out of this craziness. But as it would in any of these copycatters, they all want... There's these random villains that keep showing up that have a grudge against Spider-Man, and they think that Kane is Spider-Man. And he keeps telling me, "I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. Please leave me alone." And what does he do? Like any hero would. He gets his stuff on this flashback. Now, it jumps back to the now time in Mexico, and you see him just going through the streets. He's going down the streets right here, and he sees all these guys picking on these tourists. And it kind of shocked me, because I'm like, why isn't he helping them? You know, you're the hero of this book. What is going on? And in this last issue, he tells him, you know, she asks him what they're in trouble. You know, why don't you help them? He says, we don't do that. We don't do that anymore. So it's kind of sad, because I liked Kane in this. I was hoping he would come out and be, you know, recognized by the real Spider-Man, even though the real Spider-Man isn't the real Spider-Man anymore. Thanks, Marvel. Gets back to the flashback again, and Scarlet Spider is doing his best to stop this random villain, which I've never heard of. That's the bad thing about this comic. They pick the most minor villains to bring up here. And you know, the battle proceeds. Pretty good art, pretty good fight scene. And she's basically, this enemy he's fighting is basically a horde of bees or spiders, something, and they're flying through him, and he's just not able to do anything about it. So, and all of a sudden his buddy, the cop that originally asked him to, you know, steps in to save him, puts one of the few civilians you see in these comics that actually comes in and helps him. This is what happens, and why I have a problem with this particular, you know, final to the Scarlet Spider series. You see him in this chapter, in this particular book too, like the original Spider-Man. Kane has a mutation. He can turn into a spider creature, and when he's in these fits of rage, sort of like the Hulk, he turns into a spider creature. And and the only reason he's doing this, he's not going to let his friend die, and which is so sad because of the way this turns out. Listen to these. I'm just going to read this little bit of a passage. No, not again. Don't let this happen again. I won't let it happen again. I mean, it's this wonderful shed of emotion. I mean, I felt for him. And what happens? He turns into the spider monster right in front of his friend. And he goes and he tears this, you know, minor villain apart. And they see the horror of... You see the horror on Wally's face, on Annabelle's face, his the barkeep, on all of them. It really made me mad, especially when you see this next part. I mean, he's changing back. It's not a permanent change, but it's just enough to scare his friends, Annabelle and Wally. I mean, in this one issue here, he tells him, you need to go. You need to go. And this 25 issues have rounded up where these people that he has saved through 25 issues, that they abandoned him. So I don't blame Kane for leaving like that. All in all, this story was a pretty good one. And I just can't believe that it ended like this. Like it says in this last final issue, that, you know, I thought he sums it up for himself on his experience in Houston, that didn't work out. And this sun on the beach that he was originally going to do, he tells him, you know, death was the only thing I'd ever known. I'm a monster, but once I asked myself, could I be something different? And it's so sad for this part right here, because I wanted that for this character. I wanted one of the second shots to actually get a good point, a good chance to be something other than just a copycat. And I don't think we got that with this. They're apparently keeping the story going. The actual review for it, since it's the final issue, I've got to give the story a 4.5, because it just had, the only reason it's going to be a 4. It's going to be a 4. I'll put a 4 and give it to you that way. One, because of advertisement. One's for the pacing. I just couldn't keep my head around the pacing of the book. The art gets a 4.5 because it's been consistent through the whole thing. When you pick up this comic from issue 1, you get the same style of art. And if it's just a little bit, it's just a short run like this was, I like that. I give that, it's consistent. It's very beautiful, and like I said, it's consistent and very well drawn. The only thing that I take off a point for that is that it's the same artist that's doing the Amazing Spider-Man. It doesn't differentiate itself from the other book. It's the same style of art. It's basically the same Spider-Man, just in different colors. So there's your redneck review from Robert on the Scarlet Spider 25, the final issue. A 4 on the story, a 4.5 on the art. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.